companies, and not only space tech, any startup. So what is that advice you would like to give to youth so that they have a foundation prior to when they start, and a better advice which will help them to sustain that company?
See, simply what I say is don't build a startup just because you want to build a startup. Just build an ecosystem or build really if you want to develop a startup. If you had an idea, put those ideas and work onto that first. Now, even I saw, like as you said, that I saw so much of people and so much of students, they actually wanted to build a startup. See, and honestly, I'm saying when I started building, and after 1 year, people used to say you're running a business. I didn't know I'm not running a business. I'm just working on innovative concepts because I don't know. I'm building a company means that's into the business. I thought that something startup is different, business is different. To understand this concept itself, it takes for me around more than 6 months because we are focusing on development of some new advanced technology. We don't want to run a business. We don't want to make a revenue. Just don't have any ideas about this because it's all into the business oriented. We want to make this concept into technology wise. Then only we understand. But what my suggestion I used to say to these people is, we build a startup. It's gonna be in nowadays that unemployment scales are gonna reduce. In the future, you can have your own company. Many people can found their own company. That is appreciated.
Hello everyone, welcome to Space Science Podcast Series 2. Today we have a very interesting topic to discuss for this podcast, that is space science startups and the visionaries behind them. Today we have MS Ragul sir with us, who is the founder and CEO of Aeroin SpaceTech, which is one of the most leading, and space tech at present has come a long way from past to present, and he has also won many of the awards like international award, national award, like young scientist award, Indian Achiever award, and many more. So we have a lot to discuss here, and we have a great personality as well here. So how do you feel, sir, on this podcast?
Hi, Prachi. Thank you for inviting me. And yeah, absolutely, it is good because like you young-minded people, when we had interactions, maybe you guys can get some of the insights. Like I'm not saying I'm an expert in this, but even like the opportunities always create some if someone is giving the chances, that like that how we have been started. So really very happy being talking here.
Okay. So before we start on with the podcast, I request all my viewers to please have a notebook and a pen beside them so you don't miss out anything worth here, as well as jot down all the important points. So to start on with the podcast, my first question directly would be, the it has like the Aeron Space Tech has come a long way to here, sir. And from your childhood to present, of course, it has changed a lot, but what actually motivated you in the childhood or whenever, and how did you thought of like starting this space tech company?
It's simple. Like since my childhood, I told it many times and many ways. Like it's all about the passion. Like where it was all the journey started when I was in child, and like obviously everyone get interested when they're looking out to the stars, skies, and everything. But I also the same like person who loves stars, moons, and like always I ask my questions to my parents, like how this universe works and how the sun comes and goes and why this moons come and go. And when I was talking about this, all the things, I was so curious to understand what is rocket. And they said if you want to travel to space, there is only one vehicle called rocket. They have told, which is they were told me. And once I was researching and just reading about those things in the newspapers and in some of the newses, I come to know about one person, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. So like everyone are very passionate and even kept as him as a role model. Even I am not the person. And like I used to pray him as a god still, even when he was alive. I just pray him as a god, and I started the journey from that way. And I haven't been thought of like always. My desire is that I want to become an aerospace engineer and wanted to become a rocket scientist. Want to work on this especially field. But then I never thought of dreaming of building this company or something. But just wanted to work on the space science and rocket science, and so curious to work on this. Obviously everyone get interested the same, like I also got it. But what I did something different is like when everyone says that don't go in this boundary condition, I just told no, I have to go. This is my dream and this is what my passion is, and started traveling towards my passion. And that's how I've been here, and maybe I'm working on there.
Okay. So past this year, you might have like building this Aeroin SpaceTech, you would have faced many of the challenges. And
Mhm.
how did you actually overcome it? Because as a youth, if we face challenges plus failures are a big part of our life. So if we face these things, we literally get depressed by it. But how did you actually tackle them, and what did you do that time?
Of course, you said that everyone are facing the failure, right? The same thing. Even till today, I'm saying that I'm facing failure. It has been part of the journey, not in my life or your life. It's been humans' life. Every day they have to face some of the things. They have to overcome some obstacles, and it is all about the failure. The reason behind the failure, I always think, is that we had some positive things maybe that will come to us in future. So much of things I'm facing it out of it. But how I overcome in the sense like, okay, if we have better failure, maybe the better future tomorrow we do have. That is what the sense I used to keep in. And just even I tell my teammates, even if you get failed, don't worry, maybe we get a good things, or just learn from the failure. That is very important. And even when I started this journey, I don't have much of work experiences, but what I thought is like, I do have only 2 years of experience when I'm starting this company. But everyone said that just go and work at least 5 years and start a space tech company. But I said that whatever I'm doing in the past 3 years, that is my learning. I'm just realizing today, like every day, every second of my life of journey of entrepreneurship or just working with the Aeroin SpaceTech and interacting with the team, going here and there, and everything's are learning. But how, if something somewhere, if you have failed, our strong desire is like how we want to come very fast from overcoming that. If you keep on thinking about the failure, we couldn't come out of it. Just we have to keep the failure aside and we have to focus on, because we have some dream, we have some destination point. So of course we have to push to those things. If you're just thinking about the failure, again you will face the really failures only. So you wanted to keep it the failure aside, and you have to focus on the positive way and go with the optimistic part. So just I love to motivate myself rather than motivating other people. I just love to motivate myself when I'm down. I just keep on motivating, like how I can be, how I could should not be like that way. This is how like simply I can overcome that. But every day I face a lot, not today or something. Every day I face a lot and a lot of failures. It's all just like in learning. I used to think about it.
Yes, sir. First time I heard better failure, better learning. This is the first time I heard from you. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because see, if you don't get a proper failure, it is there is a one quote, don't Abdul Kalam sir has told, like, don't read success story, you will get message. Read failure story, you will get an idea to success story. Obviously, it is truth, right?
Yes.
Because if you just keep on getting the positive things and only success story, we don't know how and how it's gonna fail maybe in the future. Suppose if we got failed and we could able to realize that and we couldn't able to overcome, that will be the situation. But if you having many failures in our life, maybe the better failure will get obviously the better future. So we are learning so much of process to overcome on the situation. That is what the truth, which I faced personally, I'm saying.
That's really great, sir. So to move on with same question I had, like when it comes to startup, first thing which clicked in my mind when I was preparing questions for you, first
Mhm.
thing which clicked in my mind that how do you manage the financial management? One of the most important thing in space tech is that it is one-sided, right? Like
Yeah,
you have to invest your money without expecting any profit from the other end. So
of
when I
course.
was thinking about this, I said usually we care a lot about money as a youth, as in college, but how did you actually manage this financial as well as how to manage that as well? Not only the crisis, but how to manage it so that our company runs smooth.
See, in my experiences, like what I can say is financial part is something different. First, once we are chasing the dream, we have to follow our passion and the aim, the pathways, and everything. So we, of course, the financial part is the most important aspect. I'm not saying that we have to leave this financial aspect, but it is most important. But once you started traveling towards your dream, you don't need to see how much you have and how much you're going to invest. Of course, we have invested earlier, and it is completely bootstrap earlier. And once we started investing, I thought that I'm not investing much of the funds at early stage. First, I have to create a strong ecosystem. What I'm doing, what I'm building is something different. I'm just, our company is working on the space tech and edutech. So what we are building, the ecosystem is important. Just I want to create a brand and I want to set the ecosystem first. Once we have the proper brand and ecosystem, obviously you will receive the funds like once if it's needed. And another thing is, it is not required for all the companies at the initial stages to have funds. Once you started scaling up and once your business is growing up and you want to enter into the market or sell into the market, in that particular time you might have required of funds. Once you have a services based companies, you generate your own income and revenue, just put that funds into the project. That is how we actually did earlier. So we just had a for the basic setup of our offers and the legal and this all the things, we spent some of the money and we have provided some of the services. On that, we just generated the revenue. We just reinvested that revenue into our company again. So until now, to be honest, I'm saying I haven't taken a single rupee as a salary in the past 3 4 years. So it's all something going again, but just how we are sustaining and how we are building. So first, we want to build a strong ecosystem. Once you have a strong ecosystem, obviously this financial part, it comes over, and everyone usually says that and thinks of it. It's a space tech company, you need a big funds. Of course, I need it. Once I'm scaling up, we are at the early stage. We are at the R&D stage where we are building an ecosystem. Once we have a strong space tech ecosystem in our hand, obviously we will have enough funds. We will generate the revenue as well as we'll get investments, making the profits, and now that's work it out.
Yes, sir. So, as you mentioned many times, ecosystem is more important. So, when we come to ecosystem, our team also plays an important role. So, I would
Yeah.
like to know, did you started this company alone, or was there a set of people with you at the start?
If you heard about some other company founder story, and everyone are quite interesting, even I wanted. Like earlier, we have started with the people of 20. You won't believe. We started with the team of 20, but after within 1.5 years, like it is very long back. Before starting as a company, it was a very initial stage, or very initial stage, just like we have planned to start a startup.
Okay.
And at the time when we had a people of 20, after 6 months, when I'm looking back, there is no one behind me.
Okay.
Everyone left because we couldn't make a revenue, so I have to pay the salary to these people, and they have to sustain, and they are a good knowledge people, they get a good package salaries in some different companies, so they have to move on. So
Yes.
because of the family reasons at all, and I was looking back, there is no one behind me, but I think 2 or 3 people believed me and said, we will be with you until we reach that state, so we will be standing you. So those 3 people helped me actually at the initial stages. Those 3 people helped me, and we were just strongly building this team first. I thought that okay, we have 20 people, that is different case. We have 2 people, that is different case. Like what we are building is important. At the same time, we need these people for the long term of journey. So when until I'm reaching the position, like until reaching a destination which I dreamed of, because all people has to travel with me, and we have to reach those destinations. This is what our agenda we have kept on. So in that particularly, I thought we want to create an ecosystem among the team first. So we want to have a proper team set off, and these people should always believe in me, and I always have to believe these people, and that's how we have started as a team. But initially, I don't have proper team. You could easily say, and no, just I started with a solo. I can't say. We started as a team, then everyone left off. Again, we started as a team, and that's how we are going on a good team. So until now, we have around more than 10 people,
Wow.
and where actually everyone are full time and working with us, and
Okay.
who is just ready to focus and to help me in chasing our dreams.
Okay. That's great, sir. You have at least if we have a good team, we can actually build on, and good team plus a small team is also enough.
Exactly.
We'll
Exactly. See,
grow.
it is no, it doesn't matter that you have 200 people, you have 100 people, you have 50 people. It is equal as to how much people brains it works. If you
Hmm.
have 10 people, and even out of 10 people, 5 people are not that much of capable to work it out. And you have only 5 people, they have the 2x of times who can able to work and equalize to 10 people. It is obviously equal, that 5 equal to 10. That is how we are there. So it doesn't matter that how many people do you have. It is always matters in that how your brain and your function that works towards the development of the company. So that's what it is.
Okay. That's great, sir. So moving on to some tech side,
Mhm.
when as you have said, as I have seen in the LinkedIn ID that your companies start small lift launch vehicles. So that of course there is a difference between theoretical and practical knowledge, and which even I have witnessed many times, which I study and the one which I witnessed practically. So, is there any time when you did a launch and you said, "Oh, this was written theoretically in this way, but this is quite different practically"? So, was there any moment in that? Can you share that as
Yeah,
well?
of course, you can experience this in the rocket science, because if you have been into some different field, let's consider you're into the automobile engineering and you want to build a go-kart, just a car like a go-kart, and you want to travel like just you want to race into the track somewhere. And whatever concepts that you have read in your theories in your papers, you are experimentally doing that in practical, right? And once you are exhibiting those models and doing it practically, you can able to face and witness a lot of problem. At the same time, you can able to rectify it because you are just a small scale thing. But rocket science is not that. If you've been into the aerospace industry, you might have know about it. Like no one teaches you how to build a rocket. No one will teach you how to build a flight. They always tells you this is the things which we have. Once we are going for the masters or PhD or even the research works or working in the company, then we can understand the building of things. It's a huge. It is not building of only one particular region. It is of huge. So in our experiences, in my particularly in UG, when I studied in the UG, I never learned the concept of building a rockets. They teach me that what is propulsion, how propulsion works, just numerical and calculation. That's it. So no one is ready to teach here. This is a rocket you have to build. If you want to build a solid propulsion rocket, this is the way. If you want to build a liquid propulsion rocket in cryogenic engine, this is the process. No one will teach you. That has not been the rocket science. So, but out of that, when I was in IIT Roorkee, like we are building an engine, solid propulsion engine, and we are testing it. So where we have been testing our first models. So we go with around more than 15 plus 20 plus testings in the past 20 months, in 6 months we done around 20 plus 60 months. Out of that, we understand the concepts. Like first we go with the theoretical, and those theoretical will help us to work on the practical. But obviously we faced many times because it's not building a cars or remote cars or remote bikes. It's of rocket science which goes to the interstellar, which goes to the space. So we have experienced so much of things that. But even though, like what we are figuring out from there is like if there is we found any problem, how we are going to rectify those solutions. And those things we will put into the software and we will convert that works and we'll do the simulation and we will rectify the problems easily in the simulation. Even though the simulation report is perfectly perfect, and once we are going for the practical, we can able to face a lot of things. We need an expertise people since who had actually worked on the field. We have to need and we need to get an help and advices from these people. Once we have done, we can able to cross all the problems. Of course, we have faced it at the initial stages, and even now we are facing it because particularly I'm the person who believes this education system is not at all worthy of what your passion that you are following it off.
Correct.
So, of course, it is truth in India, and I'm talking about. So that's what things are going on.
That's great. Then at present, like you have built up this space start companies, but many of the youths also have this idea towards building on space tech companies, and not only space tech, any startup. So what is that advice you would like to give to youth so that they have a foundation prior to when they start, and a better advice which will help them to sustain that company?
See, simply what I say is don't build a startup just because you want to build a startup. Just build an ecosystem or build really if you want to develop a startup. If you had an idea, put those ideas and work onto that first. Now, even I saw, like as you said, that I saw so much of people and so much of students, they actually wanted to build a startup. See, and honestly, I'm saying when I started building, and after 1 year, people used to say you're running a business. I said, no, I'm not running a business. I'm just working on innovative concepts because I don't know. I'm building a company means that's into the business. I thought that is something startup is different, business is different. To understand this concept itself, it takes for me around more than 6 months because we are focusing on development of some new advanced technology here. We don't want to run a business. We don't want to make a revenue. I just don't have any ideas about this because it's completely business oriented. We want to make this concept into technology wise. Then only we understood. But what my suggestion I used to say to this people is, you build a startup. It's gonna be in nowadays that unemployment scales are gonna reduce. Maybe in the future you can have your own company. Many people can found their own company. That is appreciatively welcome. But idea, just make a proper idea. Work on that idea, whether it is feasible or not, whether it has been entered for feasibility or not. You can able to sell this product or not. Whether you are going with a product based company or service based company. If you're going the services based companies, like what requirements you have, what skills you need to learn, what are the things you want to learn and which you don't have, you have to do those things. The same thing for the product based company, what you are building, whether the product is exist in the market or not. If it is exist, how we are going to differentiate the product between these companies, how we are going to compete with the global companies. You have to see all the aspects. You should not see only into the Indian economy or the global economy. You have to see in all the countries, like how you are going to sustain and make it profit or make it revenue, or how it is going to impact the society. It is revenue, making profit, making money, that is secondary. but what impact that you're going to give into the society is very, very important. That is what I used to say. So you can bring an idea. A lot of ideas are there. But what I suggest is bring that idea and put those idea into real practical works. And especially for the tech people, what they do is they had a good knowledge in technical. They had a perfect knowledge in technical, but they don't know to sell those ideas into market. For example, I saw so much of final year students, they do a project, final year project, right? But what is the use of that? They just left into the college and just see, keep on putting into the reports and get good marks and they go off. But only some people, they convert that final year project as a company. Simply, I can say in a nutshell, those who have the knowledge to sell their projects into the market is actually a business person. If he's just doing it only for the name of sake of technology, and if he couldn't able to sell that project in somewhere, it is completely a waste, which I used to consider this aspects. So you can build so much of thing is there, but get an idea, get a basic idea and skills and knowledge. If you're a tech person, you should not be always into tech. You have to focus on non-tech, because if you're a founder and CEO, obviously you need to have so much of responsibilities. You have to take care of the team. You should be the proper leader. You have to learn and you have to accept. Just if you're getting a failure, take the credits of yours. If it is success, give the credits to the team. You have to do all the things as being a leader. It is not as simple. If you're a non-tech person, that doesn't mean that you should be focused on only into the marketing or management. You need to have all the ideas. But for the startup building person, the CEO at the initial stage, the founder would be the graphic designer. The founder would be the content writer. The founder would be the social media handling. Everything will be done by the one single person. Even sending the mails, receiving the calls, and attending the calls. Or if you want to do your graphic designing, or 3D designing, simulations, project research, everything that one person, because he is chasing his dream. That is what he has to do. It's a responsibility, and it is completely, it is not hope on him. You have to do it. At the same time, what I can suggest another thing to those people is you build a lot of problems for there in the society. Try to create. It doesn't matter that you are building only rocket or you are building a rocket or cars or something. You just find a small problem statement and give the proper solution for the problem statement. It can be anything. It can be simple reason, but it can be anything. But it is not that always you want to build a big scale and you want to impact the good society. If you're building a small scale and that is gives impact in the society, even that product or services is worthy enough. So do it. So don't build a startup just because you want to build a startup. Build a startup if you truly have an idea, and that idea you can, if you could able to scale up and entering into the market, and you could able to sell into the market or to the people or customer, obviously you can. Until keep on learning, keep on learning, keep on learning. Only this learning will teach you and get skills and knowledge. Connect people, connect, talk to a lot of people, interact with these people, attend so much of conference and so much of events. Get a connection, utilize the platform usefully, and once you had an interaction and connection with all the people, obviously you can get a lot of things and a lot of informations. By just keeping those things, if you are coming to the market and everything is fine, we'll consider two example. One person has a proper idea and you don't know how to enter into the market because you don't know how to build a company. Another person, he has only funds, but you don't know run a company. If these two persons working to each other, obviously they can. But here no one is doing that. So it's a basic idea. If you have a proper solution for one particular idea, work it out. Work it out and build a skill. So if you had a proper skilling knowledge and proper scale up knowledge, do a lot of things. Just as simple I can say that's the thing. So anyone can do a startup, but truly before that, get an experience and knowledge and skill. If you had strong desire that you can able to build this, of course you can, and you could have a better future for this.
Yes, sir. Even I agree with you. Recently, like nowadays, we are seeing that they are building the startup, they are starting on, but after certain time, that startup gets bankrupt or either that doesn't work. That's because, as you said, they just open it for a startup, for the startup shake, but
Yeah.
not the proper idea. So even I agree with that. So moving on, like when we talk about space science, space tech, all this, our today's focus is upon that as well. So we remember ISRO, NASA, these big tech companies. But to coming to a small level, to startups, how did your company actually contribute to these world large tech companies, and how did they actually shape uh, the the like molding of the NASA as well as ISRO's space structure or whatever?
See, as you told, we have NASA, ESA, ISRO, SpaceX, JAXA, many so much of space companies, and to reach those particular position, they had at least nearly of 20 years or 30 years to
Yes,
build
correct.
those things, right? And our contribution is less, but we don't see them or they don't see as a competitor. We don't see them as a competitor. It is like in startup ecosystem. Again, talking about the space tech ecosystem. Space is not yours or space is not mine. Space
Correct.
is common for everyone. So we are, for example, Neil Armstrong went to the moon and he did some of the research on that. He is the first person to land on the moon. Not only US people are celebrating, even Indians are celebrating that, right?
Correct.
If this Gaganyaan project gets succeeded, not only Indians are going to celebrate. Of course, every people, those who are into the tech and those who are into the space, will celebrate this process. Because space is for all, space is for everyone. But it is not like what differentiate that we are going to give to this company or what we are building is we just are building a small scale that will contribute. Maybe the particular section. Now in India, we have only one ISRO company. That's a government organization where they could work on the space science and projects. But now 200 plus space tech startups are there in India where could work on the propulsion, where the companies are working on the launch vehicle and where the companies are working on satellite and elementary ground station and AI, space debris cost, so much of things, and even the reusable rockets. So much of companies are working on the so much of things. So it is though they don't see this as a competition. Whatever we are building, and that is if it is impacting and getting a good things, it is good for the nation, and it is good for the nation's economy as well as development of the country. So we don't see it's your company or our company. Once people are walking into the space tech domain, it is common for all. So it's a space tech ecosystem where they build for the country and for the nation. So we don't things that all works. And maybe if let's consider SpaceX company and when NASA was there, SpaceX also they have formed and they initially started as a startup and they now have grown very big giant company. You could say they have the big giant rocket. So even getting NASA's, it is not like we are building and you just do this works and we will take care of this work. It's just like a group of people and group of space tech startups are togetherly building this. That is what actually the space tech startups and companies and well-established companies are think of. And even like we get a help from ISRO scientists. We get help from expertise, those who are into the ISRO and retired ex people from ISRO. So it's like all you're building an ecosystem.
Yes, sir. And I agree with this that small tech space startups basically are different from NASA because they provide something to the youth directly. Right? We can't,
Exactly.
as a youth, we can't directly go to NASA, but as a startup, you are directly reaching out to the students, and that's a really plus point for the startups. So we need more and more startups so that youths get the most insight of it. So
Exactly.
yes. So moving on further, we'll almost come to end of the podcast, but before that I have some more questions. So last question about this is, how would you advise youth on based of not only on startups but on academics, on managing life, on everything, because as you have also went through BTech phase and undergraduate, so we face a lot of things. We do projects, we do everything, and we get somewhat tired of it. So how do you motivate them, and what one advice would you like to give them so that they have a motto in their life as it?
Nowadays like this people like this generation people they used to call Gen Z, I guess, right?
Yes.
So why do they call us like they're not serious about their life? We'll
Okay.
put these things into three categories. I'm not telling anyone particularly. We'll put this into three categories. One is like our grandfather grandmother pays like around 70s 80s and 60s to 80s we'll consider, and our parents from 70s to 80s, and then like people. So this in between, let's consider before 2000. Those who are born before 2000, they know what is the life. They know the seriousness of life because they have seen the money value from paisa, not from 1 rupee or 5 rupee. But those who are born after 2000, they started seeing the rupee from 1 rupee only. They don't know what is 50 paisa even. So
Mhm.
this is all the things. It is the technology is changed. The generation is completely changed. See, one side the technology is moving very fast. It is like you could say moving very fast, speeder than the light of speed. Another side, you are not been matching to those things. I've seen so much of people. If there is 100 people in this particular generation, only two people are very serious about their life, what they wanted to build, what they want to work on. But rest 98% people are just spending their useless time in social media. That is truth. But even many people use social media to make a money. But these people, like, let's consider a TikTok or reel. I'm not saying anything as a bad. Some people make the video and they make the money out of it. But others do watch the video, they just keep on scrolling and wasting their times. You just utilize your time. It is all wasting. You need to be serious in your life. Every people, those who are watching, what I suggest is, even I was at the case, and I'm also facing this scenario. What I do is, I'm also good active in Instagram, but more so much of active in the LinkedIn. But sometime when I have the weekend, I used to go more than 20 minutes or 30 minutes in Instagram. And out of the 30 minutes, hardly 15 to 20 minutes I used to watch news and good motivation quotes. That's it. But even the 10 minutes I consider it's a waste of time. Once we started scrolling the reels, it's keep on going. So what I do, suddenly I just quit Instagram for 1 month. I don't use it. I have to control. What I say to the people is, control your social media and try to come out of your technology wise smartphones. Don't use the smartphones. Many people, like, I'm not saying you should not use completely. Why you are utilizing smartphones? Of course, if you need to send any message or if you have anything usefully, do it. Read books. No one is in this generations. I think people are not ready to reading books. They prefer like listening of this podcast, or they just go with random of videos. They want to learn something in easy manner, but it won't work. So much of people are there. They're in the Gen Z, and even like in past 1 week, like in last week, I had a meeting with Planning Commission of Tamil Nadu State Government, and even we were discussing the panel discussion, the same sector. This generation, people are not serious about their life, what they are building, what they wanted to do, how they are going to be after in the future. They don't just complete their schools, entering into the college, doing engineering. After the engineering, they just directly go to MBA and work in the sales and company. They don't have proper dream, they don't have proper vision. But I'm not saying every people. Some people they have, but not all the people have the same mentality. You need to create a competition among yourself, like it is you versus you and you versus others. You have to create a strong competition. But if they are serious in their life, even my dad used to say, if you are serious about your life, you don't get sleep at all. You don't need to get sleep at all. But nowadays, all sleep routine, daily routines, everything got changed. People used to wake up, even myself, like we used to wake up at 8 o'clock. We need to have a breakfast at 10, 11, and lunch at 2, 3 o'clock. And even sometimes we skip the lunch or breakfast. And we used to sleep at night 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock. It was a generation where people slept at 8 o'clock. No one will open their doors and switch on the lights after 8 p.m. 8 p.m. they consider it as a peak time. But nowadays, 8 p.m. is your dinner time, actually, people consider. And they used to go to the beds at 1 p.m. They don't have proper daily routines. They don't have proper scheduling of their life. Everyone has to do it. They have to make their life planning. What is your dream first? What is your vision? Why you're born first? You have to find yourself the reason why you're born to this world. You're just born because without any reason. You have some reasons. Try to figure out the reason. If you're really interested in something, learn it out. If it doesn't matter if you want to become a doctor or engineer or scientist or anything, but in which particular field you're interested, just work on that, read and learn many things. You have to utilize 24 hours of time. You have to utilize it. If you're not utilizing, you're just working for the 18 hours and sleeping for 8 hours, if it is completely unbalanced. Eat daily good foods, have a proper sleep, make a schedule of your life, and make it to do. If you're being a school students or college students or working professionally, if you don't have your responsibilities, make what you want to do in the day. And once you complete the day, just stick it, whether you have done or not, or if you're the future, after 5 years or 10 years, where you wanted to become, where you wanted to be there, what you want to be there. And just make all the plans and work on that. If you don't have skills for particular reason, just learn those things. But so much of people are there. But even we can say, like, and nowadays people just for the name, for the famous person, to get the name and fames, they just spend that useless time. It is very honestly, I'm saying it, even I was in the situation. But once I strongly believe this is not the life we are enjoying, of course, but enjoy is need for life, but enjoyment is not a life. That's very truth fact. So you need to enjoy. I'm not saying you have to 24 hours, you have to work and study. Just work for a day and work for sometimes and get relaxed, do something. But don't get addicted to the phones. And even I can see a lot of people too much of addicted to the social media. You have to, if you're going for the social media, you'll be get distracted. See, if your business is towards or your pathway and career is in the social media, you do it. But if you wanted to entertain your self and you want to relax yourself, if you're going for the social media, of course you'll get distracted. You can't able to focus because you'll get one by one reels video. You get it is like at usually you many people I saw that what they ask us. I just done with social media means in Instagram for 1 year, 1 hour, and then later I watch motivation videos at the midnight and get motivated the overnight. And the tomorrow morning it done completely done it off. What is the use of that? See, if you're getting motivation, you have to utilize that motivation. Try to implement those motivation skills. If you're not just learning the motivation and getting the motivation talks from some different people and getting motivated, if you're not utilizing it, that is completely waste. So much of, and this generation is industry 4.0 we are running off. We are into the very advanced technology where we are utilizing AI, where we are utilizing ML, every source of things we are utilizing it. So we can order. Now the simulation came, meta came, so much of things came. They say there is a one quote in Tamil, Ulagam Ullagai. That means the world is in your hand. Of course, once we have the smartphones in your hand, everything we can able to scroll, we can able to learn and get it off. So everything is there. How you're utilizing those times and getting a good, proper life for yourself is very important. It is choice yours. Whether you want to make it complete entertainment of your life or whether you want to utilize those times to make a good impact in future, it's all in your hand. So work hard in a smart way. Don't put the hard works complete. I just wanted to work 24/7. No. It won't work out. Work hard in a smart way. Utilize those things. Learn too much of things. Keep on learning until you reach the destination. If you do these things, definitely those who are watching this video, maybe this kid benefit. That's it. Simple. I can give a bit of advices.
Thank you, sir. Literally, I got inspired. And I will implement this as well. As you said, right? We get motivated, but we don't implement. But I'll surely do that. And
Good.
thank you for sparing the time for me and for the viewers who are watching this. Of course, they will have a lot of insights today and would have learned something, some more and some much about space techs. So thank you for the time. I hope so we'll meet again in as well as in any college, sir. Definitely, we'll meet.
Yeah, sure, definitely. Thank you,
Thank
Prachi.
you. It was great talking to you, sir.
Yeah, well, pleasure.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.